All right, so thanks once again for everybody coming together. This is final day. This is the demo day for the IT Experience Python training course. We started back in November 7th. Before I, go further, I would give Silver the opportunity to, say a few words and also introduce some of our industrial participants that joined us for today's demo day. Then I'll take it from there.
Thank you, Michael. This is really exciting to see everyone come together after, let's say, a month long of learning and sharing ideas and coming up with projects. I'm really excited we're here today. My name is Silva Hiwario. I'm the founder of the ITExperience group, and our mission, as we all know, because I know you guys, most of you all know me, is to help people transition into the tech industry, and not just helping them transition, but also helping them stay in the tech industry, like working on projects and getting things done, our hands dirty, and so that when we go out there, we're able to represent or hit the job running in the first day. So that is, in a nutshell, what the ITExperience mission is. Then I also, for this event, I really want to thank the instructor, Vishal Das and Michael Hiwario, for taking out time out of their busy schedule to give back to the society through learning. I would attest that, and a lot of the participants would, that they've actually learned a lot, not only that they network and shared ideas within each other. It has really been fun. Vishal, Michael, I am really grateful. Thank you so much. And in the house today, there's still, I know a lot of them will still join us soon. We have some guests in the house. As they come in, I will introduce them to everyone. I have Camden. You all know Camden from 2 weeks ago. He was my instructor in when I started my boot camp some years back, and he's a strong supporter of my vision. I am so thankful, Camden. I appreciate. Alex, I met on online. I've not actually seen him face to face, except online. Alex, thank you so much for coming. He's a data doctor, a coach and a speaker, a lover of data, and he's the founder of Alex S. Moy. I'll still let the speaker introduce themselves to you guys. And as the others come in, I'll introduce them because we have a lot of them, a lot of people lined up that are supposed to be here. So let me pass it over to the guest speakers to introduce themselves. Thank you very much. So let me start with Camden. Let's start with Camden.
Hey guys, as Silver mentioned, I am an instructor for Trilogy Education Services. I work as the FinTech instructor right now for the Rice boot camps, but you may also see me associated with the data analytics online course that I built with Rice University boot camps as well. Additionally, I'm a full-time curriculum architect for 2U, so that means I get to build programs for our enterprise clients. And with that, I'll stop talking and hand it back to Silver.
All right, thank you, Camden. Let me pass it to Alex to give us a brief intro about himself.
Hey, Silver, thanks for having me on. Alex S. Moy here. My professional background is in finance and doing data science there. I run the BI Center of Excellence supporting Tableau at Truist, which is now the 6th largest commercial financial institution in the US. And I also am the founder, as Silver had mentioned before, of Data Doctor, Data Advisory Services. We are a boutique data science firm, and from there we also have several different startups that are offshoots from that organization. So really excited to be here and see what you guys have in store for us today.
Thank you, Alex, for being here. I am really grateful. Let me pass it over to Michael.
All right, thanks a lot. Thanks, Silver, and thanks, Alex and Camden, for joining us. We're just going to go and once again, thanks to everybody. And most importantly, thanks to all our participants. They worked so hard over the past 1 month, and I think they're going to show showcase the work that they've done, after the training course. Also, thanks to our sponsors and that have provided some support in one form or the other. If I go to the next slide here. Just to briefly, for people, guests that are joining us, just to give you a flavor of the participants that took part in this class. So we took a survey at the beginning, and just to gauge where they're from and their level of experience joining this class. And you can see a Menti survey result. So mostly skewed towards North America, but we have representation from some of the other continents. We don't have anyone from Antarctica, unfortunately, but good spread here in terms of participants. And in terms of their skill level, as Silva mentioned, a lot of them have no prior knowledge, in coding or Python before. So you see 14 respondents there, and a bulk majority of them have very basic knowledge of Python, with a few intermediate and one person that has some advanced knowledge. But we took everybody, we made sure that everybody's carried along, and thanks to Vishal for trying to make sure that the course is blended so that we don't lose some of the people without knowledge or experience in Python. So we're able to carry everybody along through this journey. And as I said, it's a 4-week journey that started on the 7th of November. So you can see kind of schedule. We did this weekends, Saturdays and Sundays, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. every day. And just a highlight, I'm not going to read through this, but showing you where we started from in terms of introducing participants to Python, the environment, looking at variables and all those good, basics, fundamentals in terms of Python programming. And we reserve the Sundays for mostly coaching and support as they work through their projects. After the first week, we step forward into NumPy and Pandas, and we build on them into some of the visualization tools, Matplotlib, and all the other good things. And then lastly, we close out with some scientific packages, including going to scikit-learn and sci-fi and doing some machine learning. And you're going to see a flavor of that from the participant today. Just to show you who the presenters, and some of them are presenting individually. They work individually, and some of them work as a group, but these are the group presenters in the order of the way the presentation is going to go. And also you can see the project topic. The topic is very diverse, from games and building games using Python, some of them in password generators, a lot of all these things that they've learned, they put it into practice. And also we have a host of people that have worked on the machine learning project, using some of these legacy data sets that are available. So I'm excited about today. Actually, I'm looking forward to hear the presenters as well go through what they've done, the pinch point, the pain and the gain, and what they learned, and hopefully we'll all have a kick from this. For our guests, you can ask questions right after every presentation, or you can save it for the end and maybe give a general comments, at the end of all the presentation. Whichever flow works for you, we're fine with it. So without wasting much time, I'm going to start with the first group here. I'll pull up their presentation and I'll let them talk through it. Let's keep to the time, because we have a whole lot of presentation to go through. All right, let's take it from there, group 1.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, my name is Prajna, and hello and good afternoon or good evening, everyone. And my team here, we're here to present today the project that we worked on, which is basically to deliver a random password generator. So the teammates are Madhuri, Edwin, Lokesh, and myself. Next slide, please, Michael. Thank you. So the scope of the project is to deliver a panel which generates a random string of characters. So based on the number of characters that we select on the panel. So we've categorized this password as low, medium, and strong. So low meaning just the lowercase and the uppercase. Medium meaning you're adding numbers or digits as well. And strong is alphanumeric plus certain special characters as well. So what we've generated complies with the password guidelines that we have. That is It's best practice to have a password which is more than 8 characters and a combination of alphanumeric and special characters. And lastly, as a continuation of this particular project, we decided to show how to hash a password. What is password hashing? I'll just take it later on once we've completed on the demo part. And how do you store it? Because it's best practice not to store a plain text password in a file, right? So how do you hash a password and how do you store it? So that's something that we'll be doing once we've done with the demo. So I would like Madhuri to take it forward from here and show the demo. Next slide, please, Michael. Thank you.
Thank you, Prajna. This is Madhuri. Are you able to hear me loudly?
Yes.
Yeah, hi. I am from California. Good afternoon to everyone. And the basic design is we used the secret package instead of random. Like what we heard is like the secret is more cryptographically strong and less predictable than random package. So we choose secret package for generating the secure password. And we are given the choice to the user to select like whether the strength of the password should be a low or medium or strong depending on the user choice. Like if it is a low, as Pragya discussed, it will choose only the uppercase and lowercase alphabets. And if it is a medium, it will choose shuffle between the numbers and alphanumeric. And if it is a strong, it will choose like even it will add special characters also for that one. Like so initially we started developing using Colab, but we have faced some issues in generating the web interface. So we tried it on the Spider, as it is completely new for me, the Spider and Thinker modules. Like it's really very challenging in fixing so many issues with that, and a few parameters of Tinker was not working on the Spider. So I try to upgrade the Spider, as it was on the Anaconda. So I used to upgrade the Anaconda and also Spider. So few things were fixed, and again we faced issues like earlier what was used to work properly, those were not working after the upgrade. So a little bit of very challenging for me. So we shifted the code to the Ubuntu, the virtual OS, and we started working on the Ubuntu, and we try to generate the same thing on console. So I will try to show that thing on the console now. Can I get a option to share my screen so that I can run the code?
Yeah. Yes. Let me do that. So I will stop sharing, and you can share. So go ahead and share from your end.
Are you able to see my screen?
Not yet. Let me see.
I'm not seeing any option to share here.
I need to promote you to present you. There's a box with the arrow at the top. Can you see it on your screen?
Yes.
So if you click on that, share. Okay, perfect.
And this is my code in a console. This is the code. We use like a function to generate depending on the parameters that the user selected. Those things we kept it here. And these are the label and entry and pattern parts. And for the length, we used like a combo box to select the length of the password. Like if it is 8, if user want to choose 8 or 10, whatever user wants. So this is the code, and I'm trying to run this one. So if user didn't select any of these parameters and if he's trying to generate, it will show a problem like it will show a warning kind of thing. Not sure why this is not working now. Excuse me guys, this is not working now while sharing. Me. Window itself. Are you able to see now?
Yes.
There you go.
While sharing, I have some few issues. Till now, it's worked properly. So without selecting any low, medium, or strong, when I'm trying to click the generate button, it show a pop-up like a warning. We need to select an option, and we have particular options for selecting this one and also for the length here. I'm sorry, guys, this is not working now. Earlier it went fine. Okay, I'm able to explain that one. We kept particular length options. So depending on the length, like here 8, 10, 12, 16, 20, we are able to generate a password with a low category or medium or strong. And even in Spider, I try to use by keeping more options parameters so that whenever the user click that one, it will show up a new window by giving the options for the user to select how many minimum characters or maximum characters, and also the number of ASCII, lower ASCII, lower characters, and also the upper characters, and how many special symbols. If you want only few special symbols instead of, so for the user to remember particular format. So I tried to develop those things also, but due to the other issues in Spider, I'm not able to do that one. For that one, for expanding the screen also, some compatible pane I heard like that is one of the package, but that also didn't work in Spider. So I just stuck up with this minimum thing. So in future we can able to enhance more this project. Thank you. I'm heading over to the Pragya.
Thank you, Madhuri. Michael, do you want me to share my screen and show you about the password hashing feature that we've developed?
Yeah. Okay. We have just 2 minutes, but
Okay.
yeah, go ahead and.
It'll be quick. I won't take much of your time. Okay.
Perfect. Yep.
Pragya, I gave control to you.
Yes, I have control to share my screen. Sorry. So, okay. This was so in continuation, like I was talking about, we wanted to show the password hashing feature. So what password hashing mainly is so what programmers mainly do when we create a login page is, instead of storing the passwords in plain text, we use one of the hashing algorithms that is currently present and generate an output which is used to store. So we use this kind of an output either in a database or in a file. And there's another thing that you need that we need to know is salting. So the thing with hashing is every time you hash a particular password, it generates the same output. So here, if you can see my screen, yeah, I've shared my screen. Here, I'm just generating a random password and I'm hashing it. So if you see here, the random character that's generated here is the hashed output. And what salting does basically is it adds a a random string to this to our password, and then it uses it to hash, and that particular thing is stored in a database file. So the advantage of using salting is no two passwords of the same kind. Say if someone's using a password like password, it will not generate the same output. It will always be two different outputs which will be stored in the database. So that's the advantage of using that. So just as a testing thing, I just tried to use password as a simple, okay, this is not a password that I would advise anyone to use, but this is just, I just used it. And if you see, this is the entire output, and the first, this section that you can see here that I've highlighted, that is the salted output, and then this is the password that that gets hashed. And what the function verify password basically does is it checks if you've entered a password during your login page, when you've entered a wrong password, it will check with the password that's currently there in the database and compare the hashes of both the passwords, and then give you an output if you've entered the right password or not. So that's basically how passwords need to be stored, and that's what I wanted to explain about password hashing and salting. And also I tried to just try to input the result in an Excel file. So that's what we were able to do. And I will unshare my screen now.
Wow, excellent. Any feedback from the Camden, Alex? What do you think?
Alex, if you have anything, I'll let you go first, or if you want me to go first, that's okay as well.
I just maybe had a little comment about the salting and the hash. Maybe my understanding isn't quite right, but I think when you add a salt to it, it changes the output hash. It's not that it prepends the hash itself, and that you can segment that component out. So the power of a salt, like if you have a like Facebook or some other interface, is that they have their own unique salt that only they know, so that even though everybody's using the same hashing algorithm, because the salt is unique, the output into their database that stores authentication is going to be unique to their system. And so that's how they kind of maintain the privacy. So that's, I think, my one comment around that.
Right, I'm sorry, yeah. Right, I kind of didn't explain it well, yes. So salting is mainly, it happens before it's hashed. So you append that your plain text password, and then you hash it.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Alex.
Sorry.
Camden, any?
Yeah, just a couple of comments. First off, really good job. I think that if you guys don't have computer science or programming backgrounds before this, jumping straight into something like password generation, like, you're off onto the right track out of the gate. This is definitely not the easiest thing to get started with, and you guys did a pretty good job. One thing I will say is don't apologize during your presentation. If Prasna or Madhuri, if neither one of you had apologized, I wouldn't have known something was wrong. So don't come in and say, I'm sorry, if otherwise I wouldn't have known. Hey, this is a field where, and I'm sure Alex can speak to this as well, you could do everything right, and the day of your presentation, stuff goes sideways, and that's just technology, because that's how programming goes.
I can relate to that, Camden.
Yeah, like, it's just stuff happens. Things work, then sometimes they don't work, and you move on with life. So focus on the presentation, focus on the things that you did get done. I'm really impressed that you guys went ahead and put a GUI on top of it. That's something that I know I myself, as well as a lot of other developers, would be happy to have run that in the terminal and be able to show you, hey, I've got a bunch of terminal commands and it spits out a password and it prints and I'm happy. You guys took it to the next step and actually worked with the Qt library to put something on top of that, and I thought that was pretty impressive. So again, overall, good job, guys, and that's all I got. Oh, don't apologize. That's the other thing.
Thanks, Camden. And Silva, I don't know if you want to introduce the new guest before we take the next presenter.
Yeah, the new guest in the house is Kendall and Nai, we've known way back. I mean, way back in the 90s, right? Actually, the founder and the CEO of Tzeki. I'll let him introduce himself a little bit before we'll go ahead. Kendall, please.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Name is Kendall. Obviously, like they said, we go way back through college. And my background is electrical and computer engineering. Have a master's from the University of Victoria in Canada. Started my career at PricewaterhouseCoopers in Nigeria, then worked for PricewaterhouseCoopers in Canada. Went on to work for Microsoft Canada building software. Then decided to come back to Nigeria with ExxonMobil. Did project management in ExxonMobil before. I was thinking about doing something different, and I decided to found a startup, Tizere, which provides unlimited affordable internet in Nigeria and also in Ghana, in West of Africa. Then in 2017, we became the third startup to get into Y Combinator in Silicon Valley. Y Combinator is, if you're familiar with in the Silicon Valley, the promoters of Dropbox, Airbnb, Stripe. So took part of YC Winter Batch, raised the seed round at the time in 2017. Next year, raised on Series A, and we've just been growing my startup for the last few years. And I'm happy to be with you guys to share my experiences and also see some of the stuff you guys are doing too. Cool.
Thank you.
Thank
very
you,
much.
Kendall. Thank you. Appreciate Michael. Pass it to you.
I think we have Sarah in the house. You want to quickly introduce Sarah before?
Yeah, Sarah is here. Ooh. Hi, Sarah.
I'm actually in the middle. I'm in the middle of getting ready to leave for a road trip right now. But yeah, I'm so happy to jump on and see everybody again. Or, well, some of you I've seen before, and I'm sure a few of you on the call was there when I joined y'all. I think it was 2 weeks ago. But I'll reintroduce myself. I'm Sarah Kim. I lead software engineers at Home Depot. We're in the Houston office. We work on the custom configurators that you see online and in store, specifically for custom products. And then I also run my own business. I'm exploring the intersection of business, technology, and leadership. And so my work is really helping scale ups, so startups who already have product market fit and they already have their initial traction and they're trying to scale. We do that through a synchronized approach to strategy and culture. So we work a lot with left brain leaders, and my work with technologists, a lot of times at us technology brain. So to work on the startup side as well. And then beyond that, I also help mentor technologists. So people like yourselves who are trying to get into technology, or some of you are already in technology and trying to make a switch into specific areas of programming or engineering. Yeah, so nice to see you all.
Thank you, Sarah, for the introduction. So I think we're going to go to the second group now. They worked on early stage diabetes risk prediction, which is a machine learning project. So I would share my screen again and I'll hand it over to them. So let me know if you can see my screen. So over to you. Kandaval, if you're there. So if it's not there, maybe we'll move on to the third presenters in the interest of time, and we can come back to it. So Craig, you're going to go next. Hey, Craig.
Oh, hi, Michael. Hi, everyone.
So can I share your PowerPoint and you talk from it, and I can show the video afterwards? Or you want me to? How do you want to go?
Yes, if you can show the presentation, the PowerPoint.
Okay.
I'll just go through that quickly.
There you go.
Okay, so what I did is I wrote a mastermind game, or I copied the original mastermind game, and I started off by doing it in Colab. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yep, loud and clear.
So the objective is to find the 4 secret colors chosen by the computer from a possible selection of 6, and the player's colors must be in the same order as the computer colors, and the player has 10 tries or 10 attempts to get it correct, or else the computer will win. So what did I learn during the project? As I mentioned there, I first started the game building it in Colab, and I sort of built the engine first of the game, and then I wanted to do the GUI after I'd done that. But then I realized that Zakinta does not actually work in a Colab environment. So I had to figure out how to install Python on my computer and to use Visual Studio. I found that part really difficult, installing and trying to get the right version of Python and knowing what to do. And also using Visual Studio for the first time was a challenge. So that was a bit difficult. But during the whole process, I learned a lot about lists and, of course, various statements, loops, conditional statements, and so on. And also a little bit about the actual Pygame library. I learned a few really interesting tricks to improve the program, such as the mod command. So that allowed me to actually specify a range of numbers that I wanted. So I've got an example there. So you can see my attempt equals my attempt plus 1 modulus 10. So what that does is it just keeps the numbers always in the range of 1 to 9. So I thought that was pretty clever piece of coding. I didn't think that up myself. I just saw it on Google. And I also learned a little bit how a class works. That was interesting. And right in the end, I also wanted to create an executable so I could distribute it to others. And that was a bit of a challenge, but I eventually figured it out and I made an executable. So Michael, next slide, please. So what difficulties I encountered during the process? I found so many difficulties while I was building the program, and I at many stages of the development, I actually wanted to give up. I was like, oh, this is too hard. But I kept pushing on, and also just doing a lot of research on Google, seeing how other people do it, grabbing their ideas and grabbing snippets of code and just modifying that to suit me. And yeah, the first program I wrote in Colab was pretty straightforward, but the GUI part using Pygame was a lot more complex. And yeah, I felt I was lost at some points. And what else? So the relevance of the project to me is I wanted to do something for my wife, and I thought, why not just write a game for her and also apply my learning, everything that I've learned from Python during this course, and apply it and build something that she can use. So I'm really happy to report she enjoyed playing the game, and my son also enjoys the game as well. So yeah, that's me. Thank you.
Thanks, Craig. This is really good. I think I like the last part. You built it for your wife. What a wonderful experience, actually. I'm going to play the video because I think it's really cool. So I'll just play. It's a very short video.
not sure if everyone can hear the audio.
Oh, they can't hear the audio.
That's okay. I can.
So how do I
Sorry.
share the audio?
Michael, whenever you share your screen, there is an option at the top before you pick which screen to share that says enable audio.
Oh, okay. So maybe I'll try again. Sorry, guys, technology. So whenever I should stop sharing the screen and share it again and enable audio.
Correct. Yes, just at the bottom when it brings up.
Okay.
Just
Perfect.
at the bottom, there's a checkbox.
Okay. Let's see. All right, let's try again.
The game called Mastermind, and I'll quickly take you through what Mastermind does. So the objective of the game is to find 4 secret computer colors in the correct order in under 10 tries to win the game. So instructions: the player has to enter all 4 colors in the input box below in lowercase and with 1 space between each color and press enter. So you can see the example there. The player's colors will be checked by the computer to see if they match the computer's chosen colors. The result is printed on the right of the player's answers in square brackets as follows. So you can see example there, 0, 2, 0, 1. So 0 means the player's color is not one of the chosen colors by the computer. 1 means that the player has chosen one of the computer colors, but it's in the wrong position. And 2 means that the player has chosen the correct color in the correct position. So if we have a look at the running of the game, and I type, for example, orange, green, black, and yellow, we see that on the left we've got orange, green, black, and yellow. So I see that immediately the first result is a 2. So we know that 2 means we've got the correct color and it's in the correct position. The same with green. It's in the correct position. It's a correct color. With black, we see we got a 1 result. So 1 means that it is the correct color, but it's in the incorrect position. And lastly, yellow, we got a 0. So that means that yellow is not one of the colors that the computer chose. So I know what the colors are because I printed them out. So we'll just have a look. We'll put that in the answer box and we'll see the result. So I put green, blue, and black. So the player will obviously be going through the various options, trying to match the computer's colors in the correct order. So if I put in the correct result, I win the game and it comes back saying, congratulations, you have won. Now I needed to create a GUI for this game and I wanted to use Tkinter to do that, but I only realized after I wrote the game that Tkinter doesn't work in the Colab environment. So I had to install Python and I had to rewrite the game. And I used a library called Pygame. So this is Mastermind written in Python using Visual Studio. So I've got the first thing when you run the game is you've got the instructions. So it just goes through explaining what to do, and it's similar to the first game that I showed you. So if we press play, then you can see immediately when you start the game, you're given the 4 black options. If I press that, I get a blank result. So that means that none of the colors that the computer colors is actually black. So now I have to go through and try and find what colors has the computer chosen. So if I go through this, and say for example, maybe that one, and let's try yellow, and you press that, you get a result. So this time the black, you see on the right hand side, these little black pins, black means 2, so that means that it's in the correct, the color is correct in the correct position. And I've got 1 white, so white's showing that one of the colors is correct but in the wrong position. So I know what the result is. I've just got a cheat sheet at the top there, so I know that the computer's chosen the following colors. So as soon as I press this, it comes up with sound. It says congratulations, you have won. I can then reset the game and play again, and I'll just quickly show you what the result if we go through it and the person doesn't have the correct answer. We get to the end, and it says, gives us a message saying that, and displays that the correct colors that the computer chose at the top of the screen. You can also customize this game to use different buttons or different backgrounds, so it's quite customizable. And I've also called this game Salvi's Mastermind, and that's because my wife's name is Salvi, and I've given it to her to play, and she really enjoys playing this game. I've also given it to my son, and he loves playing the game as well. So it's out there, and the family is actually playing it, and they're using the game. So that's me. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thanks a lot, Craig. This is really fun. I really like the game. Really good work that you've done, with all the learnings you've learned from the course so far. So I think we would go on with the other presentation because we're kind of slightly behind time. And maybe if you have questions, for Craig at the end, we can take that, if that's okay. So with that, I would go to next presenters as a group. I would open the slide and I would have them, talk through the material. So keep it brief because we still have your video to play, except you want to just talk through the slide only. So Natalie, Brittany.
Yes, I don't think Brittany was able to come in because she had some technical problems due to the weather. So I don't know if she managed to join the Zoom, but Natalie's here as well. So our group was myself, Pablo, Salinas, and Natalie and Brittany. And we decided to do our project on a machine learning code for diabetes based on the Prima India and diabetes dataset. Some of our key findings that we basically discover after doing a little bit of the cleanup, if you can scroll up a little bit, basically we noticed that there was a cluster of information that kind of showed the correlations between some of the fields and of course the outcomes. So we kind of highlighted that in the data cleaning. In the machine learning, Natalie was able to run several algorithms, right, and chose the best solution for the selected model that she wanted. And then Brittany did a nice GUI to basically interact with the user for the interface and allow them to basically put in their own little variables to do a correlation of the findings based on our model. So we had several challenges, of course. I myself was kind of new to some of the data science and, developing the GitHub, page and everything. So I kind of set up the GitLab, and basically when I got into the cleaning of the data, I tried different methods like ilog and log. And in the end, after hammering and playing with the data for a while to try to filter out specific fields, because I was trying to remove some of the zeros from the data, it turns out that by me just doing a simple query and then saving it to a data frame, I was able to do it really nice and and easy and a lot more elegant that way. So I learned a lot by by doing that. So in the end, I was able to accomplish my goal as well. Um, so getting a good model that was suitable to use, of course, was on a general user application was one of our challenges. Completing the whole workflow and integrating it to the machine learning model with the GUI was another challenge. Displaying the graphics using the Google Colab was another challenge, and ensuring that the code from multiple developer merged properly together. So of course, some of the solutions that we had, like for myself, was of course discovering that a simple query, kind of did what I wanted, and a lot more elegantly. Doing research on YouTube to actually be able to figure out how to do some of these things that we wanted was very helpful actually. Selecting the appropriate features that best represented the correlations and performed the best accuracy was another challenge or a solution to it. Saving the model on a Pico file and loading it to the GUI code, and then importing the panel to allow the visual interface in the console, and basically communicating and implementing version control were some of our solutions as well.
Excellent. Thanks a lot. So I can go ahead and show the brief video demo.
Okay.
Yep.
Hi, this is Paul Salinas. This is our video for the ITExperience Python database project. And my team was Brittany and Natalie. And this that we're seeing here is the GitHub project dashboard that I created to keep us organized. We have the backlogs, the to-do, in progress, and done. So these were some of the tasks that we have completed for our project. I, of course, also created the repo so that our team can work together, working through GitHub. And of course, we were using Colab to develop our project. On the left, you will see the outline of our workflow. So we have a project description, basically stating what the project's about, the references of where we found the data set, the libraries to import, the data set itself. We actually imported 2 data sets so that we can work with. The visualization contains us basically investigating some of the data plots so that we can kind of take a look and investigate the data. Of course, we realized that it did need to be cleaned up because there were a lot of zeros. On the section of data cleaning, I basically removed all those zeros so that we can have nicer plots, as well as allowing our data to be clean so that we can actually utilize it for our modeling. These are some of the graphs that we have here and some of the data related to our subject matter.
Hi, I'm Natalie, and I'm going to guide you through our machine learning process in my project. After cleaning the data and analyzing it, we had to choose which features, variables, we were going to use to create our model. And for this, we had the criteria of selecting from the correlation matrix the best features, and we also added blood pressure because we thought it was really important. So then we split the data for test and training, a ratio of 80% and 20. We normalize our data and choose these 4 algorithms for evaluating which one was the best for creating our model. And we made a loop to go through each one of them and created the report. And actually, the one that was the best for us was the logistic regression. It had a accuracy of 81.8%, and that was fine for us. So after that, we worked on saving our model in some kind of file that we can then load and use to use it in our application or somewhere else. And we used this command to save it, created this file, loaded it, and then we validated that making the prediction with the model we had loaded had the same accuracy.
Hello, my name is Brittany Bergeron, and I did the GUI portion of our project. For Google Colab, it's very difficult to use any graphics type because it's a server. It doesn't have an output screen, but what we do have is the display console at the bottom of our code. So what I did was use the panel extension from HoloViz, and I was able to create widgets and buttons and other things like that that hold certain values the user can interact with. So for example, you can choose in this field 2 data points that you would like to see graphed. So I could do insulin and glucose. I can choose some color. For this field, I can show just specifically one variable that I would like to see graphed in a histogram. And I can also choose the color for this one. So I will generate these graphs, and on this panel, you'll be able to see that graphed. This next part is some interesting graphs that we had created. I also used panel to create this interactive widget. So you can choose the specific graphs that you'd like to see that Pablo had created by cleaning data sets. And you can choose any number of these, generate the graphs, and you will see those here. So these are interesting clusters and data sets that are clean for better visibility.
All right, perfect. Any comments on this one? Any feedback? I thought that was really nice. Vishal, you have any comment on this?
Oh, Michael, I mean, I'm just impressed. This is how we would do it in a real commercial machine learning project, right? This is what we do day in, day out. Look at data, pre-process the data, look at different models. I think, yeah, you guys are just ready to get out there and start contributing into some of these problems even more carefully. So yeah, really happy to see what you guys could achieve in such a short period of time. So congratulations.
Thank you, Vishal. Camden, Alex, any quick comments?
Yeah, definitely. On the machine learning bit, when you're looking at accuracy, be careful that you don't only look at accuracy, but that you also look at things like precision and recall, because depending upon how you're going to end up using that model, the false negative or the false positive rates may become exceptionally important for what you're trying to deploy that model for. With that said, again, really great job, especially having those 3 very different thrusts of the project all come together at the end to create that visualization in Google Colab. Really making that a pipeline from end to end is the only way to do that is with really good teamwork, and you guys are very much an exemplar of how to bring all of that together. So good job.
Thank you, Camden. Alex, any quick one?
No, I just think I'll echo what Camden and they said before. It's just that, this type of collaboration is exactly what happens in the real world. So the fact that you guys were able to pull it off and being fairly new to, I think, a lot of these tools and set is really, really great. I will say one thing. I love the panels, and in some of the clean data sets, love to see that taken a little bit further with the clustering and maybe some PCA, so you can see some of the segmentation in there. But where you guys got was excellent, given the amount of time.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I was very impressed with the panel, trying to do the GUI on Colab. That was actually great to see that working. Kendra, do you have any quick 10, 20-second comment?
None at this time.
Okay. All right. So with that, we're going to move on. Great work, team. This is really a nice project that you guys have put together end to end. So I'll move on to the next presenter, which is David Frederick. David, I would share your presentation, then you take it from there.
Okay, sounds good. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly, and the slide is up on the screen.
Yes,
Great, thank you. Okay, so yeah, my project, I started looking at, so I come from a front end and JavaScript background, and so I had already done like the guessing game, I'd already done tic-tac-toe, so I wanted to pick something that I was like, I have no idea how I do this in JavaScript. And so doing some research online, I found a YouTube downloader, which looked a little more complex than it actually was. But it was interesting to see just how easy Python makes some of the things that are very hard in other languages, like JavaScript. So basically, my goal was to create something where you could download a YouTube video, any YouTube video, and have some basic validation for it, and then actually, of course, receive user input for the URL and then the version and the file name, whatever you want to call it. Because obviously it would be kind of stupid if you had, I didn't want to have just a default file name, and then I didn't want to not give you options. So I print out the options, and you can pick those things. And there's also error handling, as you'll see. So you go ahead and go to the next slide. So I found a library very quickly after Googling this called PyTube, which basically is for downloading YouTube videos, and they do some of the heavy lifting for you. I did find out about try except blocks. I knew about try catch blocks already in JavaScript. I think Java also has them, but I never tried them with Python. So that was a fun thing to try out. And then I also, dealing with proper validation, that was probably the part that took me the longest in this little project. So with that, I think I'll have to share my screen to run the code.
Yeah.
So I will
stop sharing.
Okay. And then I think I click open share tray and click share. Okay. Can everyone see my screen now?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet?
Okay, I think it's coming through, maybe.
It says on my end I am sharing it, so.
Yeah, we can see your
just taking a second. Okay. So I did take the non-GUI route. Just wanted to focus more on the code. I've done a lot of GUIs, of course, focusing on front end. I've done a bunch of stuff with that, but I wanted to focus just on Python. So here we just import PyTube. Then we ask the user for a URL, whatever video they want. This actually didn't end up even needing to be here, but that's okay. And then we also store all the ITags, which is basically a unique ID for each video that you'll get back when you print it. And then, so we use that later for the validation down here. Then we get an input, so the user can pick whichever ID for whichever video they want. And then from there, it's just you asked another input for what you want to call the file. And once you download it, it'll download to the location of the Python file in this case. I believe there is the option in PyTube to specify what specific folder you want. I don't imagine that would be very useful for any individual, but maybe if someone was integrating this in a larger platform, it could be a nice thing to have a specific downloads folder. So yeah, with that, I'll just show show it working real fast. So if we just click play. So here we can take a URL. I like Star Wars. This was on my recommendations this morning, so I'm just going to copy that over real fast. And you paste it into here. Hit enter. It'll fetch that, and then you can see it'll show you all the IDs. It'll show you what kind. It'll show you the frames per second, the resolution, and you can pick one. So let's just pick the last one just because I can see the number the best, 394. Hit enter. Call it Obi-Wan concept trailer or something. Obi-Wan concept. I spelled Obi-Wan wrong. Okay. So we hit enter. Now it says video successfully downloaded. And here you can see it's in the same folder as the Python file. And I can double click it and it should. Oh, well, I tested it before this and it played happily when I opened it. I'm not sure why it's not playing, but the folder is there, the file is there, and it should play in any major media player like VLC or anything like that. And then it just to show error handling real fast. So if we run this again, and I'll still put in a valid URL, but I will put in just an ITAG that doesn't exist. It'll say invalid ITAG entered. So yeah, so I've got several if and try catches to try to catch all the errors. One thing I'd probably do is add filtering because PyTube does come with a lot of filter options, but I didn't do it for this demo. So that's it. That's the whole thing. So.
Kendall, I see your hand is
Okay.
raised. You have it. Go ahead.
All right. Hi, great use of the try catch. But I wanted to ask, if you put an invalid URL, is it just that if you put a non-YouTube, what does it spit out if you put a non-YouTube URL?
That's a good question. So I'll just pull up Facebook here real fast. Sharing seems to be not going super fast. I will share again if you guys want me to, but I think I could just test it real fast and I could just tell you what happens. So actually, it will still catch it in the accept block. I put in facebook.com, and basically, if YouTube tries to get something that it would expect from YouTube with all these different streams, and it gets anything different, it'll just throw into the accept block.
Okay. And then does it ask you again for because that would be cool instead of just exiting the program, right? Just allow you to put in a correct URL the next time.
Yeah.
So that would be improvements. That's obviously upgrades you can do later on to make it better. But really good overall. That's my comment.
Thank you.
And just kind of piggybacking off of Kindle, definitely there's a lot of directions you can take this project. My actual background is originally as a JavaScript developer as well. So don't be afraid to learn a little bit more about Python, start learning about building servers using things like Flask or Django so that you can use your JavaScript skills to do a front end with a Python backend and start building more sophisticated applications. So definitely a lot of directions you can go with this one and have fun with it.
Thank you.
Any comment, Alex? Good. Thanks a lot, David. This is really good. Hopefully you can make this available to the group. We'll put it on the Slack and on our channels so that other people can, have fun with it as well. But great work. Thank you. So next we'll go to our next presenter, Angelique. I would open the slide and share my screen.
Great, thank you.
Good. Can you all see my screen?
Not yet.
Not
But
yet.
can everybody hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you
Yes,
loud and
okay,
clear.
Okay, great. Okay, well, while you're getting the screen up, I'll just tell everybody a little bit about my background.
Yeah.
I have absolutely no programming. I am a complete and total beginner. The last time that I saw something out of programming, there were some punch cards there. So that just kind of tells you a little bit about my background is in sales strategy and product marketing. So I sell the stuff that programmers make. So anyway, the reason for taking this class was because I wanted to learn something new and thought it'd be really, really interesting to take away the mystery of the black box of programming. So I decided just to dive in, and I'm so grateful for this. It's been amazing. I mean, my only other delving into Python is either the snake that goes in my South Florida backyard, or somebody bought me a book, O'Reilly, and it says Python for data analysis, and I opened it up and I said, oh no, this is way too crazy now. So yeah, so starting off with that. So here's my pretty little picture. Michael, next slide, please. Thank you. So fundamental basics, you guys have been awesome, teaching from step to step and how to find libraries and go searching out for terminology and samples, and then taking that in and then building it in to your own notebook on Google Colab. And then I had everything all ready to go, ready to submit. And then I reread the instructions again, and it said, oh, GUI. So anybody who has kids who play Roblox, there's a little death by GUI in the corner there. There's a little homage to that. So again, next slide, please, Michael. So after about 5 or 6 days of being completely miserable and trying to figure out how to do a GUI, I looked at this Slack channel, and thank you again, Michael and Brittany, for trying to rescue me. I started to look at more stuff on Stack Overflow. They said that Colab was being kind of grouchy, misbehaving. And then literally when I was trying to bring in stuff from the panel, it was timing out all over the place. By end of that resort, I had to bring in some big guns, and I needed a hired hand, and I had to give them a bottle of French Chateau Lafite. But anyway, I really did enjoy this class. I took it to sort of, again, take a lot of the data analysis and bring that into my marketing group, and just looking at sales and figures and doing sales cycles and things like that, and bringing it into the FP&A world. So again, thank you for this class. This has been totally awesome. I can't wait to use more of this stuff in scraping websites of competitors and things like that. So it's always good for that side of the business intelligence, not just the BI under the hood, but the BI above the board as well too. So anyway, yeah, so that's like 3 minutes or 2 minutes, or I guess we can go to the video. So please be advised, I've never ever programmed anything in my entire life before. So all of the else ifs and the looping and that sort of stuff, that I completely remember. So I did all that code myself, but then I had to bring in the extra person to help me with the panel because it didn't really work in Colab, and we kind of did the best that we could until like 2 o'clock in the morning. So there it is. Oh my goodness, my video that shaky? Sorry about that. Thank goodness there's no audio. Please keep the audio off. It's probably me yelling at him. So I was just trying to sort all the functionality and make sure we had the reset and the exit, and then it went to 10, and it either said that the computer won or you won. But yeah, so that was it for me. Thank you.
This is awesome, Angelica. When I saw your slide even before this demo day, I kind of have a good laugh on it. It's really fun, going through all the pains, trying to learn something new, especially without any background in programming. It's amazing what you've been able to do, and staying with it and just doing it one day at a time without giving up. I think that's actually great. And one thing I like is that when you needed help, you have to reach out for help, right? You sent a note on Slack, you got some insight, you took it from there. So with all this programming, you have to reach out to resources, right? I heard people talk about using Google. Google has to be your friend. YouTube, Slack Overflow, they have to be your friend. And most importantly, I like the bottle of wine there. I think that could be your friend as well to help you through some, through some difficult coding experience. I think Kendall can attest to that, and also Camden and the other folks. So anyone comment from the panel here before we move on to the next presenter? Great work.
Yeah, much like one of the earlier groups, don't apologize. You're going from 0 to 100, and to be 100% honest, this is a field where swearing is a part of what we do on a regular basis. That's why you hear software developers love the F-bomb quite a lot, because it's a stressful thing where you have to figure out what other people were thinking when they were writing something, and yeah, just it's frustrating because you have to engage in a way that you don't really have to for a lot of other kinds of roles. And then finally, I kind of made the reverse transition of what you've done. Is a few years back, I went from just doing software to doing fintech, so I had to learn about finance and FP&A and accounting and all of that. So I definitely feel for you, and I think the most important thing is to understand that the difficulty is going to come from not that you are incapable of learning programming, but that you're going back to square one in a different field than what you've developed your expertise in over a number of years. So embrace that, lean into it, have fun with it. I think this is a really great project, and just keep going. I know it might seem like it should be kind of a one-off thing and you're going to go back to the finance side and not do hands-on anymore, but I guarantee you, just playing with it every now and then, you don't have to really live it day to day, but it will keep you aware of what really is going on the other side of the house there.
Yeah, well, I had a lot of fun, and I think doing something like this was completely different from others. Is you have to have a sort of a sense of humor.
Yes, you do.
A sense of humor and a good liver, and just to have a lot of fun. And so I figured, well, I'll keep going with this, and then if I start to curse a little too much, I'll learn another language. Maybe I'll learn French, because it does sound so lovely when you curse in French.
Thank you so much.
So,
thank you guys.
My comments, Kendall here, will be first thing, it looks intimidating, and the thing with coding is when you see all the different people at different levels and different stages, it seems like you have experts and like, wow, they're like gods. How are you going to get there, right? When you're starting off, or you see people making a lot of progress. I think the best way to approach it, just like Camden said, just lean into it, have fun with it, use it to do everyday things like for example, someone made a game, right? Figure out your next task that you have in, maybe if you're still doing sales or whatever it is, and say, okay, hey, I'm trying to compute my sales growth rate over the last couple of months. Maybe I should do it in code this time versus the way I usually do it. Then when you take that project and then start writing the loops and all of the stuff, you build from it, and you feel a little happier when you get it done, as long as there's no deadline. So you don't want to do it for something that has a deadline. But if you keep using it for smaller things, to solve smaller problems, it now becomes second nature, and you start getting more the confidence to actually take on bigger projects. And then the more time you spend on it, the better you get at it. And really, the thing about software, which nobody tells you, is there's always some new thing. So now it's Python, right? So for me, my background is PHP, C#. Before that, Visual Basic, right? So another language could come, and everybody's pretty much at the same level starting. They're just learning those concepts, the loops, and all of those things all over again. So don't feel bad that you're learning Python now, because, for example, me, I've been coding for the last almost 20 years, but since I was a teenager. But if there's something new, I have to learn it, right? And even from in my field, which is telecoms too, there's 5G coming in. We all have to relearn everything we've learned about 4G, LTE, and that's exactly how the field is. So you're coming in at a good. So anytime you're starting, it's also a good time to start. Okay.
Great. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you, Kendall. Any other comment before we move on? All right. So we are more than halfway. So if there's no other comment, I would go to the next presenter. This one is going to be on breast cancer prognostic using machine learning. So Taha, are you there?
Yes. Can you hear me,
All right.
Mr. Michael?
Okay, so I'm going to share. You make it quick so that we can also get through your.
I guess I will have to share my screen for the machine learning because my video is also about the presentation. I made a mistake about it.
Okay. Yep.
Okay. So my name is Taha Salar. I'm from Iraq. I'm the first time doing machine learning or doing coding. I chose machine learning because I want to learn it and do it a part of my job. So I did it to learn, and if there is a mistake, I hope you can guide me through it. So first time breast cancer prognostic is about data that got from women that were diagnosed with Dr. only. The aim for this machine learning is to see or to predict if there is a malignant or benign machine learning cancer within the women. And the data within it contains 34 attributes and 119 indices, like 119 samples. If you go to the next sample, to the next slide, Mr. Michael. The challenges were for data cleaning. I guess I spent it 1 week for it, and just to see why the data within it were so messy, like I didn't get any good results within it. Data visualizing to see which data are connected with each other and organizing data. Also, I had a problem with selecting the classification algorithm to see which data, which algorithm to choose, and to see which one of them has more accuracy or has less problems within them. If you go to solutions. So for data cleaning, I removed a column or 2 columns that had no data or had values had no effect within the machine learning. Also for visualizing, I used heat map and script plot to see the results or the data that are interconnected with each other. Also arranged the data, split them, and also made an automatic model to solve the problem of machine learning, to choose which machine learning. The model was automatically results or show me all the data and all the accuracy within them. Okay, Mr. Michael, can I show it?
Yes.
Open my, okay.
I will stop sharing, then you can share from your end.
Okay. Can you see it?
No, not yet, but it's coming through. Yeah,
okay.
We can see it now.
Okay. First of all, as you can see, this is the data. I use this inside to check the data if there is any values that I cannot send or unreadable values within my data. Also checked it if there is all the object or the type of the data within the files are the same. As you can see, one of the P notes is here as object, where it's supposed to be float, because it contained value like question marks. Removed it. Within the columns, there had a question mark in it. I didn't know what was the reason for it. It made the column to read as an object type, so I had to remove it. And also, as you can see, I made column here to check which data are nearly or close to each other. Also with the script plot, as you can see, only 5 columns or 5 data or 6 data were acceptable within the classification period. The problem was after this, after I made the automatic classification, after I ran all of the data, the accuracy within them were too low. The training accuracy were high, like 80 to 197, but when I made them to test accuracy, the results were too low and didn't know why the results were too low. Each time I ran the accuracy test for testing them, the results were kind of shaky. As you can see, the training results are good, but for testing results or predicting the results, it couldn't predict it if it's malignant or benign. The problems within the data that I choose, so That's all from my side.
So thank you very much, Taha. Yeah. Any feedback from the reviewer? I think we can, maybe take it offline, and Vishal and I can, look at your data set some more and maybe see how you can improve it. But I'll open up for any comment from the,
Okay, thank you.
I can tell you off the bat what most likely is wrong is that because you have an imbalanced data set, what you need to do is either a SMOT or SMOTine process in order to balance out the cancer and non-cancerous classifications. The other part is that the FNA technique, I know you are essentially making an extraction of cell bodies from the site, if I remember correctly what FNA is, but that usually works out, but sometimes you might get some very interesting results in the needle tip that can butts with the data as well. So definitely there's two things that I would want to look into there, just of trying to understand the data set as a whole.
Okay.
But otherwise, good job.
Thank you.
Thank you, Camden.
Yeah, I agree with the class imbalance that came to mind, but I like what you did there in terms of you weren't sure what classification algorithm to use, so you tested a bunch of them, and I saw how you encoded that, and I thought that was a great approach. So good job for taking that route. The other approaches to think about too when you're trying to solve this is sometimes it's feature engineering, right? So there might be some other things that you can do in that space for pre-processing. So great job.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, Taha, I would also, kind of second all the comments that Kamden and Alex made. So this is a classic machine learning problem, which is I'd strongly encourage you to look at variance versus bias in machine learning problems. So this is where your training data is possibly also getting overfit in addition to the class imbalance problem. So that's why it's giving you such a good result on the training, but your prediction or the test data set is not getting, it's not general enough. It's kind of memorizing the training data set. It's a classic machine learning problem. So that's another area that you might find useful reading about. But overall, I mean, you say this is your first machine learning model, right? So I don't think I achieved what you did when I did my first machine learning model. So kudos on that.
Thank you.
So with that, we can move on to the next presenter. Great job, Taha. Really good work that you've done.
Thank you, Mr. Anka.
Yep. So it's gonna be Midowa working on the music analysis data set. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to learning what you guys found out on the music stuff. So I'm gonna share my screen, and once again, then you guys can take it from there. All right, Midowa.
Hey, good day, everyone. My name is Lucky. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead, Lucky.
Okay. Yeah. ITExperience November Python final project, and project title is database for music analysis. Our collaborators are Midowa, Vededo, and Lucky Omeniu. That's me. Okay, next slide, please. Yes. Okay, our team, we chose to work on a free music archive dataset, which is a dataset for music information retrieval and then digital music analysis as well. And so the dataset includes metadata from MP3s, from about, these are figures there, 106,754 tracks, then 16,344 artists, and then the numbers of albums all day, and then 116 journals. Okay, and so the data behind this project is utilize the idea behind, this project is to utilize the machine learning in order to complete tasks of sorting out large numbers of digital music files. And so when inputting large numbers, we trained our codes to, when inputting large number of digital files, is able to sort them into journals and into music journals, and that made it easier, a lot easier. And then the point 3 number there, the point 3 there, it says the notable point, the Python libraries as well that we used was we used a lot of Python libraries as well, but the notable ones that we wanted to mention are Librosa, which we used in audio file loading, and then we use Folium as well for geolocation and handling as well. If you look at the image on the right, you're going to see one of the image that as a result of. Can you still hear me? Okay, I'm
Yes.
just in the bad network region. Okay, I want to be sure you can hear me. All right. Okay, next slide, please, Michael. Okay, our team chose to implement the cross-industrial standard process data mining and then methodology for data mining and methodology for our analysis. During the data, we understood portion of workflow, keeping music journals identification in forefront, and then some interesting trends emerged as well, which you're going to know in the next point. I say a variable in the data set called the MFCC, the male frequency Castro coefficient, which is often used in described timbre, emerged as a candidate variable for prediction during the music journal. And also, if you look at the image just by the side of it, you're going to see where we experimented on that, where we used the MFCC as one of the attributes that, and we experimented. We can see the scattered plots just down there. And then just by the side of that also, we will see where we also use when we're doing visualization, we try to plot pairs of using Seaborn. And the result that Seaborn gave to us, the Seaborn plots pairs variable, which helps to visualize doing correlations during our project as well. And so one thing that we observed was that the electronic and the rock music files seem to have higher byte rates. And so byte rates are the number of transferred data to audio. And so for what we realized was that electronic music and rock music had a lot of byte rate, and we showed a lot of quality as well in the music. And so I will just pause here and allow me to take it from here and give us the result from the analysis that we did.
Yeah, I was just testing out some of our features in our notebook. That's what you just heard. We were talking about music, so that's where that music is coming from. Anyways, can you take us to the next slide? I'm going to try to demo some of our notebook after this. So we right away went into doing some of the machine learning models that we touched on in the class. One was new out of the 4 we tried. We tried the SVM model. That was actually our most accurate one. But a lot of the coding that we did to get to our model results were pulled out directly from the things that we learned in week 4. So that's one thing that I wanted to mention is I pretty much learned the way to write this code from the class. And the most accurate one was our SVM. We did KNN, we did neural network. The other one that we tried was the random forest. And I noticed that for random forest, every time I increase the number of, is it seeds they call them? Let me see what it's called, estimators, n estimators. So I started at 100. The accuracy was low, and then when we kept going higher and higher, the accuracy increased. So I was just wondering, maybe I'll try this later if I go to a higher number, but it also obviously makes the code run slower. So now what I want to show is some of the lessons learned, challenges, how we went about collaborating and finishing the project. If I can share my screen, please.
Yeah.
First time I'm doing this. Can you also see my screen?
Not yet.
Okay.
60%.
Yeah, it's the first time I'm doing this on this computer, so it's asking me to authenticate. Okay, never mind. It's not gonna let me do this. Can you share your screen, please, Mike? If you have the notebook that we have, there's two things. There's a GitHub page and a notebook.
Let's see if I brought in the.
Yeah. Sorry about that. But basically, we just wanted to. I mean, even if we don't show it, we could talk through it. So the first thing we did was we collaborated on GitHub. We had to figure that out, and then we collaborated using or we wrote our Python using Google Colab. What we really enjoyed about the Librosa library was you're able to load in audio files, test them out on the Colab node itself. That's what you heard me playing a minute ago. And then one thing that we also found out was the one thing that we showed as a variable that is good or a likely variable to predict genre was that MFCC. And the way you can think about it is you compare a saxophone to a guitar to a piano. They have different timbres. And typically, if you're talking about jazz music, you think saxophone, right? If you're thinking about hip hop, you're thinking snares or a kick drum. And that's exactly what this musical analysis is doing, is trying to identify timbre. So more than likely, you're able to identify genre from your timbre. All right, so where is it? If you keep scrolling down, there's a plot that I wanted to show. Yeah, the features. So we're close to it. Keep scrolling down, please. So this is where we start analyzing zero crossing rate, the rate at which your music goes, the signal goes up and down. Basically, you're thinking conjunct versus disjunct kind of music, complex, basically. Then that was the slide bar that I was just playing that had the audio clip. And then this plot with the blue and the red dots, that's the one that's plotting your MFCC. And you notice there that MFCC is plotted and the dots represent different genres. So specific genres plot in a different part of the plot versus other genres. So that's why we were thinking this would probably be a good variable as a predictor variable. We also documented a lot of our struggles at the beginning of the notebook. So we had a section where we called challenges encountered. And all the links that we found as solutions to our problems, we saved them. In case we have those problems again in the future, we refer to them. And that's pretty much it. We want to say thank you, obviously, to Mike, Silver, and Vishal. Thanks for the organizing of the class.
This is really awesome. I like that clips. It wasn't long enough, but you know, I'm a big fan of music. But really great work putting this together, just following the learning from the course and doing this within a short period of time. This is a challenging project that you guys have taken within a week, and you know, seeing what you guys have done. Any other comment, Camden and Alex and the other, you know, guests?
I'd say this is a pretty awesome project that you guys take a look at. I'm not familiar with this type of data in this data set, so interesting to see what you guys did. Looking at it kind of like a collaborative filtering, you guys took some of the different approaches. Curious about the random forest. You know, that exactly what you're talking about definitely happens. Accuracy goes up, increase it, and then computational overlay. It just goes up through the roof. Would be really curious to see if XGBoost gives you a different result in that side, but SVM definitely makes sense that that's the top performing one. Very, very good work. This was interesting for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, I thought the SVM being the better one was actually kind of surprising. I thought that the either any kind of a random forest or XGBoost probably would be doing something better because one, you're working with a high dimensional multi-class, which already is like, this is going to be a tough project. But then the data set that you're working with is anything that involves human art of any kind, where you're trying to classify that, you're going to run into massive issues because every type of art that humans make has severe overlap with other kinds of art. So kind of trying to tease apart the nonlinearities and the little very subtle differentiations between those. You guys picked a tough project. Like that's just out of the gate, it's a tough project. So
Music, I
very
couldn't
interesting
resist.
results. Go ahead.
I was just saying, it's music. It's hard to resist. I mean, I'm a music kid myself. I play around with electronic production, so I couldn't resist it.
Hey, I don't blame you. Like again, this is if it's related to something else you love, definitely go with it. And that's what. So because you have a background with the music, you understand why it's such an interesting but also strange to articulate thing that you're trying to do. And I highly encourage you to keep digging deeper into this because not only is it going to help you to find some very interesting quirks in the way that we produce music, I think that you'll also find a little bit more interesting stuff as you start finding more data sets that have more music from outside of Western philosophy, but even diving even deeper into your own music experiences and own music tastes, you're going to keep finding more interesting things. So have fun with it. Absolutely love what you did there. Tough project. You made it happen.
Thank
you.
Yep, I agree, and yeah, just to echo on some of the comments. So I look at music as well for my living at sound, but it's more for finding out characteristics about the earth, and we look at seismic waves. It's the same problem, just in a different scale and different challenges itself. And like Alex and Camden said, it's quite challenging, and it's good to see that you guys have come so far. And as you guys rightly saw, that the number of estimators in the random forest, if you increase that, you essentially make the trees grow bigger, and that leads to computation requirements. And also you might also you should be watchful or careful about the fact that the more nodes you have, the better you would get with the training, but it's again an overfitting problem. So you have to kind of see the balance. You don't want your machines to memorize the training data set. That's strict no zone for any of these machine learning projects. XGBoost definitely should be better, but SVM's doing good. It's SVMs have been there for a while. I mean, I still remember when I took Andrew Ng's course in Stanford. He still would teach us SVM, and with with kind of statutory wording that, hey, it's going away, but it's been there, and there was a reason why it was there for such a long time, right? It's a very powerful technique by itself. Also curious if you guys also think about deep learning methods as well. I mean, we have been trying a lot of CNNs and encoder decoders kind of stuffs to do these kind of classification problems, and that might be another a good avenue to explore if you really want to dig deep into the project. But hey, again, really good work with such a short span of time. So hats off.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vishal, for the comment. Thanks to all the other guests for such a great comment. Good
Sir,
work,
sir,
Noah.
just a minute.
So
Sir,
we're running out of time. So can we hold off that thought, and I want to make sure I get through all the presenter because they put in a lot of effort on this. Then we can take additional comments in the end, if you don't mind. So,
Sir Michael. Sir, I have sent a video clip for you about my project that I have not submitted my project in time. Just it is 2 minutes video.
yeah, let me get to that after the presenters here. If we have time, I can show your video, if you don't mind, Yoshido.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So now we're going to go to, I just want to get through the list because it's a lot of effort to put this together. Padis?
Hi, can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. I don't know if my camera, there I am. Hi, y'all. I am Pardis Moravec, and I started this, I did a machine learning project with the dataset contraceptive method choice. So a little bit of background about me first. I am totally new to coding. I actually have some background in the medical field, in the dental field actually. And with COVID, I've always had a big interest in tech, and with COVID happening, I kind of decided to take the leap and try to do a bunch of learning and go ahead and switch my career over. So this course was super exciting for me. I chose this data set because I am very interested in the medical field and I would love to go into data analysis within the medical field. So I thought this would be a good way to sort of dip my toes and see what all I can do. So to give y'all a little bit of background on the data set, it is a subset of the 1987 National Indonesia Contraceptive Prevalence Survey. The samples were from married women who were either not pregnant or did not know if they were at the time of the interview. And the problem was to predict the current contraceptive method choice of the woman based on her demographic and socioeconomic characteristics. So the first thing I wanted to do was kind of get an idea of what my data set had and what it was all about. So I actually converted it to a pandas data frame just to take a look at it. And I had 10 features, which were things like the wife's age, the wife's education, the husband's education, the number of children that they had, etc. And of course, the target being the contraceptive method choice. So Michael, sorry, if you could go back to the first slide. This first visualization that I have, this bar graph, I just wanted to kind of see what the distribution of the data was. I kind of split them up into age groups and then wanted to visualize the education level within each age group. And these were the first two features. And so I wanted to kind of make sure that these were good features to use. So I went ahead and did the principal component analysis. And this is the second plot you see on this page. And it looks like there's good correlation, so I went ahead with those first two. So then, Michael, if you can go to the second slide. So I split up my data, of course, into the training and the test sets, and I used sklearn's, scikit-learn's method for that, the train test method. And I made several different models. So coming into this with absolutely no background, I wasn't sure which model would be the best. So I kind of decided to do the first model that we learned in class, which was the k-nearest neighbors model. And I have my confusion matrix here and my accuracy report. So this was 50.8 accuracy, which was not the greatest. So I decided to do a little bit of research. And I went on Google and I looked at other people who also tried to solve this problem using this data set. And it looked like a lot of people were using decision trees or random forests. So I wanted to, make sure to do those. But then in my Google research, I actually also found a really handy flowchart that was on scikit-learn's documentation website. And it was a flowchart kind of telling you, depending on what kind of data you have, which model you should use. And of course, this is for categorization. So that flowchart led me to the linear SVC model. So I decided to try that one as well. And the accuracy was definitely better than the KNN model at 53.2%. But then I got this warning, this convergence warning, wanting me to increase the number of iterations. And since this wasn't a model we went over in class and I'm completely new to this, I kind of decided to leave that alone and try for decision trees and random forests. So with my decision trees model, you can see the visualization of the tree on the right and then my accuracy on the left. This one was 52.2%, which was definitely better than the k-nearest neighbors, but not ideal. So Michael, if you could go to the next slide, I went ahead and tried to do random forests. So my first random forest model was 52.8% accurate, which again was not the best. And I thought, you know, what can I do to increase the accuracy of these models? Because in the 50% range, you know, it's not the best accuracy. So I normalized my data, and that helped improve it a little bit. So I tried that, and then I would also love some feedback from y'all about how I can improve the accuracy of my models. But there were definitely a lot of challenges. You know, I wanted to, at first, one big challenge was it was not, all of my data was not all quantitative. It was, some of it was categorical. So I kind of had to figure out how to switch my models over to use that kind of data. And then, you know, I did a lot of Google research. Stack Overflow was my absolute best friend this past week. But it's been a huge learning experience, and I really want to give a huge thank you to Vishal and Michael and Silver for putting this class together. I have learned so much, and honestly, it's been a bit of an inspiration. I didn't know if I wanted to go into data analysis, and it was very intimidating at first, but you know, 5 weeks and I can already make these kinds of models. I think, you know, it's really encouraging for me. So I'd love some feedback, and thank you guys.
This is really great. Thanks a lot, man. This is really impressive that you've been able to go from almost near zero to putting such a model together. I would leave it open for the guests to provide their comments as well.
Yeah, I think first off, congrats on getting this far, having, you know, taken this as your first programming project. And also the problem that you're trying to tackle is a little bit challenging, right? Because it's not just 2 categories. You're taking a 3, so you're tackling a multi-class problem, which is different from just a binary classification. So metrics like accuracy here might not be the best predictor of your model, right? So something like the area under a curve is going to be something that is typically used to help evaluate, because it just becomes a really, really complicated challenge to evaluate all of these different scenarios that are happening here. So I think this was especially challenging for you to tackle. So props to looking at that. The other comment that I have on here is, Michael, if you could go back to like the first slide over there, and the data visualization, I love what you're doing over here with breaking it out. I'd like to see when you got your education over here, you actually have 4 classes, right? So discretely, I'd like to see each one of them as a histogram on their own so that I can compare the distribution. When they're stacked on top of over here, you lose some of that information. And so the comparison becomes challenging. And that's really the value of displaying them in those bins, the histogram view, right? So you can compare distribution with distribution. In terms of the PCA, I think that's well done right there. But when you display in 3 dimensions, human beings just have a hard time of interpreting where it is in 3-dimensional space. So collapsing that down to 2 dimensions would help people to interpret it a little bit better. And then there's a technique called topological data analysis that is still in development, but in case you're trying to visualize data like this in that space, it's a very useful technique for extracting high-level features and visualizing it. So that's
really cool. Thank you so much for your feedback. I'll definitely look into that.
A great job. Yeah.
What to say when Alex has said pretty much everything. Like nail on the head. First off, great job, Hardis. Second off, Michael, if you could go back to that last slide. Again, really great job with this. I think that the big thing that I would zero in on that Alex kind of started to hint at is definitely when you're looking at those different accuracies, most certainly start getting into things like precision and recall here. So for example, for the class 2 across these 2 trainings of your random forests, you got one that has a recall of 0.36 and one that has a recall of 0.29. So depending upon how you're going to end up using the model in the field to make your actual predictions, one of these is going to be way better than the other one, but your false negative versus false positive rate might be something that you have to think about. But otherwise, I am super impressed with this. You took a data set that is kind of interesting to wrap your head around and turned it into a phenomenally well-written set of models, as well as this is probably one of the most succinct and like, I'm not distracted by 30 things. This is probably better than most of my students' presentations, so thank you very much for that.
Thank you so much, Camden. I really appreciate your feedback.
Yeah, I also would echo everything that's being said. It's great to hear, Pardes, that you have gone past that big hurdle, which I think is very crucial. That it sounds very intimidating at the beginning, but now you're starting to see that things are starting to work out. So one thing which I really wanted to go through in this course but didn't have the scope and the time are the details of all these methods, right? So it's crucial to understand, and as you get your hands dirty, you would want to be very, very diligent about these methods and understanding the pros and cons and the basics of these methods. So I have learned a lot of these from Trevor Hasty and his book on elements of statistical learning. It's highly recommended if you want to take this more seriously. You should probably look into that book. There are models like generative additive models, GAMS, which handle both um, uh, continuous and discrete variables. So some of those things might be really more interesting to you now that you've started working on this. So just wanted to let you know about that. But overall, this is good. I mean, if I'm seeing that the class 1 is getting predicted almost at 70% accuracy or F1 score, yeah, I mean, good job on that. Thank you so much. Congratulations once again.
Thank you so much, Vishal. I'll definitely take note of that book.
Yes, thanks a lot for all the good comments. I think we are kind of close to the end. Camden, and I would just want to ask if you guys have 10 more minutes to spare. We have 2 more presentations to go. Thank you very much. So without wasting time, I would go to our next presentation. Hey, David, are you guys there? So David, Shaw, Shipla. Let me see if any of them is there. So Shilpa, David, I can't hear you. I see David on the line, so. All right, we'll skip this, and if they come on, off mute, and we can have them. So then let's move on to the last presentation. So Vijaya, are you online with us? Let's see. I hope you guys can hear me though.
I can hear you, Michael.
All right, so I don't see. Yeah, Vijaya is there. You're off mute, so you want to go ahead, Vijaya? So they may be having. Oh, we can't hear him. I think he's having some connection issue. So let me see if I have his video and we can just play it. So I had them record all this video just in case of network issue. You know how it goes with remote stuff. So I would go ahead and play the video, and because he's having audio issue.
Michael, I think you have to
I have
forward
to
the,
do.
yeah.
Okay, let me make it enable audio. I don't know. I keep. So give me a second. I'll stop sharing and I'll share again and enable audio. Can you see the screen?
Yes, I can.
Yes.
Okay, let me make sure the audio, because I didn't see the option. Do you get the audio now?
No.
Okay, so what am I doing wrong here? So how do I get the audio to come on now? So I'm going to stop.
So I think you have to enable it while you are sharing the screen. There's a tick box.
Okay.
Forward device audio or something like that.
Yeah. All right, I see it now. Okay. So this should work.
Today I'd like to present the data analysis I did on 311 San Francisco.
If I go too far, can you get the audio now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cisco data set. So basically 311 data set contains all the data about the non-emergency instance. I took the data from January 2020 to November 2020. So I cleaned up the data through the Tableau prep builder, as well as I also used Excel, and I did cleaned up some data using this Python in this function also. So here these are all the libraries that I have used in order to generate the visuals, and this is the function I have for the data cleanup. And once I clean up everything, and then I set the index column as the case ID, and I'm sending back the data frame to this variable. So the data I have is in the CSV format. So it is a almost a year of data. So right now, after even I cleaned up, I have 60 MB of data. So here, this is the information about the table. I have the open date of the incident, closed date, status, category, and the police district and the source. The processing time, month, week, and float time, I have generated those columns through the while doing the data cleanup, and these fields I can use those for the visualization development. So these are all the sample data. You can those are there in the data set. So when I listed out, I see that street and sidewalk cleaning has a lot of incidents with that reported, and followed by the parking enforcement and the graffiti. And this is the pie chart. I have this process time. This is the average number of days by police district. So I see that the Tenderloin has the highest number of days that it is taking. But if you can see the bar chart, basically Tenderloin has the very less number of incidents recorded in that area. But still it is taking more time, average time. So that maybe because the type of incidents that they are having, or maybe the resources may be an issue. And this is the cases per month. So you can see this line graph with the data points. As you see in this line graph, the April month has very lowest number of incidents reported. So I'd like to dig deeper a little bit and see what's going on. So I have generated this weekly report, weekly visual, and I see that since March or so, February and March, and the incidents are slowly coming down, and then April it is hitting the bottom, and then slowly increased. So this may be possible reason, maybe the COVID lockdown. So people may be staying at home, and so cases may be not reported. So that may be one of the reason. And finally, this is the density map. So this map shows in visually how and which area has the more density incidents are reported. So as you see, only this dark purple and then this light purple, these two are the highest number of cases reported in here. So that is the brief presentation for now, and thank you for listening.
All right, so that was a good backup here. We didn't have audio, had to play the video that was pre-recorded, but I thought that was good. So we have one more. You know, the group is not able to. I can't hear them from audio. So if any of them is online, can you go off mute and let us know if you'll be able to share? I have David Chow.
Hello.
So
Hello.
yeah, I can hear you. Who is speaking?
I'm Sudhar Kodi Michael. Can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you.
Okay. I think the CL bike data project completely done by the David Show. So we are helping small things only. But unfortunately, I think he didn't. He left the conversation. I don't know what happened.
Maybe network.
Okay. Yes, the Seoul bike data has some. He analyzed that Seoul bike data based on that meteorological variables. The correlation shown. Rented bike count. He concentrate on rented bike count based on the weather or temperature like that. He faced some issue with the loading CSV file, but after that manually entered column headers, we can able to load that CSV file. And then the date also is not in the datetime type. So we try to change the datetime function using the pandas to datetime function, and then he did that correlation between two things. So we can see that next slide. That can you show that in that the rented bike count, based on the correlation, we can see that hourly based and rented bike count in the bar chart. Based on the temperatures, if this weather is changed, that time is the rented bike count is very less. We can see it in that rented bike count versus temperature. Okay, these are all done by the David for the fuel bike data. Can I share my screen for that COVID data analysis?
I think we are out of time. I don't want to keep our guests much longer. This is 4:11.
No, it's only very less time only. I will show that ARIMA analysis alone. Can I?
Okay, go ahead. If you come in, you have 2 more minutes. I'm going to keep begging for time.
Okay. It's okay. I'll do that.
Okay, go ahead and share your screen.
Can you see my screen? Hello?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay. Okay. I try to analyze the nationwide COVID-19 data. So I thought to only analyze the death increase day by day. Try to predict the death increase data trends over time with ARIMA in future. I learned the basics of math and statistics course from LinkedIn and tutorials from the net because I'm very new to this machine learning and data analysis concepts. This is the graph I plotted using this normal plot between date and death increase over time, month on month data. It shows this. After that, I'm using this bar chart and color coding to plot that month-wise death increase. We can see that a yellow color is very high and its very blue color is very less. So we can see is the current trend is very increasing day by day because of the more exposure outside world. This is the graph I shows is death increase and positive increase. Whenever that positive COVID positive increase, the death is also increase. We can see that clearly in the graph, this scatter plot. If it is more than 200,000, it increases 3,500 nowadays. This graph this plot diagnostic allows us to quickly generate the model diagnostics and investigate unusual behavior. You can see this histogram plus estimated density. This kernel density estimation is very high based on the normal standard distribution. You can see the top right graph. This top left graph is standardized residuals over time displays. Displays obviously seasonality. Okay, this is confirmed by the parallelogram. This the top, the below right, the parallelogram. It shows that keeps on increasing and decreasing trend. The QQ plot shows that order distribution of the residuals. There is blue dots follows the linear trend of the samples taken from the standard normal distribution with n of 0, 1. This is red. So it clearly shows that it keeps on increasing trend. Based on this Sari-Max function from the standard statistical models, I identify these PDQ parameters and coefficient standard and everything. I plot these observations. From these observations, we can conclude to understand the time series data and forecasting the future values. But still, I'm doing that, predicting the future values. Because I'm very new to this machine learning and data analysis. I'm trying to learn the ARIMA model and predicting the future values. It would be the very great experience for me to do the projects in Python. Thank you very much. That's all. It's my presentation.
Thank you so much, Sudha Cody. Thanks for rescuing your group here, and I think you guys did an excellent job. Good stuff. Yeah, so because of time, I think we've gone through the list. We won't have time for any more presentation, but I'm just going to open to the guests to give 1 or 2 comments or advice to the participants, and then we can wrap up, and Silva can give a closing remark before we close out today.
Sir, can you play my 2-minute video?
Yoshida won't be able to take it in the interest of time, so we would have opportunity in the future to do this, okay? Just because we're running out of time.
Okay.
So Candy,
okay,
now let us go ahead and wrap up for the day. Candy, or any of the guests, any last comments for the group?
Definitely. Just a couple of general things. One, again, don't apologize. You know what you know what you don't know. You don't have to apologize for what's done and not done on the project. Just show me what you have, and that's just something you can take not only to just this class, but to anything that you're doing. Focus on doing the things that you can do well. Don't get so caught up in the kind of anxieties about what's not finished yet. Additionally, when you're given a set amount of time to present, make sure that you practice that presentation and that you can stay within that time limit. That's just a really big thing. I know that in my classes, I cut my students off at 10 minutes. I don't care where you are. And I know if I'm interviewing someone or if this is a professional presentation, whatever the time you have is what you have. You're going to get cut off, and If you think about it from the perspective of a CEO or someone that's an executive, that 20 minutes of their time is several thousands of dollars that they could be earning or making for the company, or value that they're creating. When they give you 20 minutes, you have to use those 20 minutes effectively. So just a couple of general tips, but otherwise really great job, guys, especially for those of you that are kind of going 0 to 100 with this. Really great stuff. Feel free to reach out to myself on LinkedIn, and I'm pretty active there. Other than that, I will hand it off and look forward to seeing what you guys do in the future.
Thank you very much, Camden. I think the other guests, some of them have dropped off, but Vishal, I don't know if you want to give one last comment. These are your students and seeing what they have shown. Maybe one more comment for them.
Definitely. This is really, I really am really happy to see, people going from 0 to this level. I think these are all very, very professional projects. I was thinking, somebody has to show some time series data, and here you go. Auto regression models. Yeah, we just covered it all. Okay. So really, really feeling really happy and really proud that you guys have pulled it over. It is intimidating, and that was the whole reason why we started off with Google Colab, because you guys didn't have to face the hiccup of getting started. I wanted you to get started from day one, the first 5 minutes, and that's how we started programming. And Google Colab has its limitations, right? You guys found out some of it, and that's why we have so many IDEs out in the market that are competing against each other with their different features. But the message that Michael and I and Silver we discussed right at the start of this is that we would get you guys to love programming. And I think looking at these projects, hearing you guys had 2 a.m. sessions working on Python, I think we might have done a bit of a good work on that of getting you guys started. So keep it going, and yeah, all the very best for the future projects and everything that you do. I'm sure Python is gonna help you, and not just Python. It's just programming. And keep your eyes and ears open. There might be something new coming up. Python is very, very popular right now, and you've seen it. Because the community is so active right now. There are you think of a problem, there is already a guy who has had the problem and has solved it using some method. And that's the power of Python and the community driven work in Python community. So yeah, no, really, really great work. Congratulations, and yeah, good luck.
Sir, I coded some of the methods of math.
Okay, so thanks everybody. I think we've come to the end of the session. Thanks to our guests for joining us, Camden, joining us twice, and thanks to all the participants. You guys have worked so hard, chose difficult projects. These are projects that people take on 6 months into their coding journey, but you guys took them on and actually did an amazing job. So this is just the beginning. It's a journey, and that's what I told them at the RISE bootcamp Camden. I said, this is just the start of their journey. And where you take it from there depends on you. Some people would start from a bootcamp and grow to become CEO and founders and really grow in that space. So take it one day at a time, find fun project to keep you engaged, stay with the community. Google is your friend. Don't be afraid to reach out to Google for when you try to solve problems. Slack overflow, keep up with the network and continue to grow from there. So thanks a lot. It has been very, very good learning for all of us, and the active participation, the energy in the group has been very phenomenal. You guys really made us happy because of all the time commitment we put into this. Seeing the students really work hard on their project actually give us that satisfaction. So without wasting more time, Silva, if you have one more word for everybody before we close out and wrap up the class.
I'll say thank you, everyone. Thank you, Vishal, Michael. We pulled it off. Right. And thank you for the participants for energizing the base. You guys energized the base and we kept it all going. We're not done yet. Always stay with us on Slack. We'll have projects. The the main idea is to keep us working on projects till, I mean, we get very comfortable enough to go by ourselves. So we're not done yet. Keep up with us on Slack while we keep working on projects. And all the guest speakers, I don't know how to thank you guys enough. Camden, I don't know how to pay for your time. I've taken like 2 hours and you're so expensive, you know? I don't have to pay for this time, but I'm so grateful you've always supported me in all my journey. I am super grateful for your time and spending this much time with us. Thank you so much, so much. I appreciate. And everyone, thank you all for being here today. Like I said, this is not the end. We'll keep going even from here on. Thank you, and have a blessed day.
Yeah, so we'll be sharing the slides and videos for every other participant so that you can see what your other colleagues have done, and also stay tuned for any upcoming courses coming up in next year. But have a good holiday. It's the holiday time already, so we'll see you guys next year if you're going to participate in any future class. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.